So Don, my question to you then is, really strange situation. I was talking to a girlfriend this weekend, and she told me that she absolutely swears that she has been experiencing hot flashes. She's only in her late 20s, so I need to know, is that even possible?
Yeah, it sounds impossible,
It
doesn't
does.
it? Now, if you talk to your mom or, somebody a little bit older that is sort of indoctrinated in this whole thing about, because that's like a pre-menopause or menopause symptom, right? How is it possible that 8-year-old or someone they're going to tell you that this is a drama queen,
Right.
This is somebody that doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. She's experiencing something else. Here's what's happened. In today's world, the modern woman, with all the stress that she's having, with the kind of dietary things that's going on, when you add all these things up, the stress factors in modern life, now we are seeing that women in their 20s are experiencing these symptoms that are associated with premenopause and menopause.
So you told me I need now to go get hormone treatment from my doctor at the late 20s?
That would seem like what the obvious thing to do is, right? Because that's what you're being told. But let's back up and let's look at, all right, why would a 28-year-old be flushing and experiencing these hot flashes, right? The main reason, for hormonal imbalances, and the only reason she's going to have the hot flash, she's got to have something wrong with her hormones, and the main hormones that are responsible for that are the female reproductive hormones, estrogen and progesterone, right? So why would a young woman have low levels of these hormones? And what's not being expressed and told to women in today's world is that there's something overriding this. There's other factors that making the estrogen and progesterone in these younger women fall. Now, we know stress is everybody's under a lot of stress, right? We know that poor diet, there's a problem with it. What we don't really appreciate and understand is what are the factors, pinpoint them. I want to know exactly what are the factors in the modern diet that might contribute or could cause these hormones to decline like that. And so rapidly in a young woman like that, how is that possible? What about stress could potentially cause that? Because we're only seeing that now in the modern woman. If you go back and you look at cultures, and there's cultures alive today, they don't even have a word for premenopause or menopause. They don't have a word for hot flashes because they don't exist. But here in America, where life is stressful and we've got issues with the way that we're eating and all the other things compounded, on top of one another, we're able to produce hot flashes in young women now, right? Something has to be done about this. So, not only is it possible, it's happening more and more frequently. And it used to be that when you talk about premenopause, because there's menopause, right? And that means, what menopause means, that's when a woman for 12 consecutive months does not have a menstrual cycle. And what the doctors, the medical profession, or the professional view of that is, okay, if you've gone 12 months and you're at that age, then that means that you're in menopause, reproduction is over for you. Okay. But then you have all that time that leads up to that, right? It used to be, they'd say, 5 years before. 28 is not 5 years before.
Not right? By a long stretch of the word.
That's 15, 16, 17 years before, right? So we know that there are issues, factors in modern life that are dramatically accelerating that process. Okay. That's what we got to fix.
Well, so what are some of those things?
The amount of stress that a human nervous system can actually handle and process on a daily basis, as modern life advanced, we've surpassed that amount. All right, now, it's not hard for us to understand or to look at the fact that the modern woman is taking on a lot. She's trying to do many things. She's involved in this new phenomenon called hurry and worry sickness, right? And she's sacrificing herself to make everything else fit and make everything else work. And while she's doing that, she's not understanding that she needs time for herself. She needs to take care of herself. She needs to look at, if I don't take care of myself, how am I going to take care of everything else? Because you're so caught up in this hamster wheel of life, doing all for everyone else, that you're not realizing that there's a phenomenon that's occurring which says my nervous system can only handle so much, and I am pushing it way past what it can handle. When you do that, you create a circumstance or a situation where your body wants to take these hormones that are so valuable to you for reproduction, and it wants to steal them and push them into a place where it will allow you to handle this stress. Does that make sense? In other words, you're sacrificing what's like hijacking your hormones so you can be stressed out. Or it's like hijacking your hormones so that you can eat a diet that is full of destructive compounds, like all the sugars and starches and bad fats that people are eating today. And they sort of complement one another. Well, that's a bad word. They interact with one another. Stress leads to sugar and starch eating, and sugar and starch eating leads to more stress.
And so are you saying also then that stress leads to not only the eating the sugar and the starches, but that it actually makes you crave those things?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
The craving is the response to the stress, right? And the more that you're stressed, and the more that you crave, and the more that you eat, that contributes to the craving even further.
Okay.
Did you see?
Yeah.
So it turns out that now sugar and starches, what we think are just benign parts of the diet, and oh yeah, maybe we should cut back on that. No. What's happening now is that those the amount of sugars that are in the human diet now is actually almost like crack and cocaine. It adds an addictive quality to it. So you know what happens when you get into an addictive circumstance. But here's the lesson in all that. If you're in that state, if you're in that situation, you're robbing and stealing your other hormones in order to try and fix that, right? Because you have other hormones that are bigger and more powerful that are in control. So if you're stealing all your hormones to do damage control for something else, guess what? Why do you think we have problems, so many problems now with younger women with infertility? Younger women who are gaining stubborn weight and are not able to, get it off. Younger women who are having hot flashes, like you mentioned earlier. Younger women who are so stressed that they're so fatigued that they're going to barely get through a day.
Right.
The only way you're going to do that is you got to really almost ruin your hormonal system, because that's the thing that props you up and keeps you going. That's where your motivation comes from. That's where your desires come from. That's where your sex drive comes from. That's where your ability to sleep soundly comes from. All of that. So if you mess all of that up, what do we have? We have women who, younger and younger and younger now, are experiencing the things that older women used to experience, or women that are getting close to their menopausal ages. That's what they used to experience. Now we keep pushing it back farther and farther, and I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon we're talking about 18-year-olds having hot flashes. You see? Here's an example. It used to be that there was something called adult onset diabetes.
Right.
You've heard that before, right? They had to change the name of that. They don't call it that anymore. Why? Because 8-year-olds are getting that same condition. Did you see? So the more stress you put on the human body, and the more that stress compounds and grows, now we can produce type 2 diabetes, which is what they call it now, in an 8-year-old. An 8-year-old, how terrible.
It's juvenile diabetes.
That's right. What used to be adult onset diabetes, kids are getting it now. The same thing is happening to women. We're this amount of stress is being piled on them in the different forms, and we have to know what they are. That's what's creating a hot flash in a 28-year-old. And like I said, I think that before too long, we're going to be looking at those same kind of what we call premenopausal symptoms in younger and younger and younger.
Well then, what is it that you think that we're going to be able to do? I mean, is this completely something that is hopeless? This is the end of it. We can't do anything about it. I mean, at the age of 28, I'm supposed to go back to my girlfriend and say, nope, you got to start on hormone treatment. I mean, is there a solution?
Yeah. Well, here's the good news, because as bad as that sounds, and as alarming as it may be, the good news is that the human body is so remarkably regenerative. It's so remarkable in its ability to respond and to heal. It's a self-healing, self-regulating marvel, right? So what you have to determine is what's causing the problem. Not what you're being told might be causing the problem, because there's a lot of contradiction and confusion to all of that. For example, you have low estrogen or progesterone. That's not causing the problem. That's a result of the problem. That's the effect, not the cause, right? So if we can get at what the cause is, and we can start you there, and you understand your role in that part, which is just some lifestyle modifications and perhaps utilizing some things that are natural compounds that can speed up your recovery, you can go from somebody who is sort of kind of circling the drain the wrong way, right, in real trouble, to somebody who can heal their hormones. You can heal your metabolism. You can heal those feel-good chemicals in your brain that start to go when you get irritable, when you get depressed, when you get anxious, all of that. And if you know what to do, we can follow a very clear road, a very clear pattern. And if you do the right things in the right way, for the right reasons, you will create what I like to call a positive domino effect, right? Because what's happening to you now? It's a negative domino effect. You're doing the wrong things, and so you keep going, getting worse and worse and worse, right? If you do the right things, you can spiral the other way, and you can get better and better and better. But you have to know what those things are. And in today's world, you're just not being told that. You go to the doctor, you walk in, you got, let's say, a 28-year-old hot flashes. She's going to be sitting in the doctor's office because she's going to be alarmed, right? I'd be scared if I was her. So she sits there, maybe for an hour or 2 hours, and then she finally gets in. And guess what? You know that once you're in the doctor's office or in the exam room, the average time in a visit is 20 minutes. That's pretty fast to be figuring out what might be wrong with that person, right? You got 20 minutes? No. That's not even the real story. The real story is you got 6 minutes of actual dialogue with the doctor. I've been coaching and counseling women for a long time, and I cannot do a very good job in 6 minutes. In fact, I can't do anything in 6 minutes. So what does the doctor have to do? They got to hurry up and either figure out what's wrong, write a prescription. What are they going to do? They're going to say, they're not going to give a 28-year-old hormone because that is out of protocol. It's the wrong thing to do. What are they going to give her? Anti-anxiety, anti-depression medication. So what is that saying? Something wrong with you.
Right.
You're the problem.
It's not affecting any of the symptoms and the root cause of anything.
Not at all. So we got to back up and just go, all right, look, is it possible that a 28-year-old could be happy? Yes. Okay, so what can we do about it to fix it? We follow what we know is the cause of the problem. And it starts out with this hormonal imbalance, and it starts out with big hormones first, little hormones second. And I can teach anybody that wants to know what that means very quickly. The second thing is those big hormones control your metabolism. So you got to fix the damage in your metabolism. And the third thing is because big hormones are out of balance and metabolism is damaged, it affects the brain chemistry. So the feel-good chemicals in your brain that give you that good feeling, that drive, that motivation, that serotonin, which you heard about, dopamine, which you probably heard about, that's the feel-good chemicals in your brain. If they get drained, now you've got a problem where your hormones aren't working well, and believe me, you won't feel good. You've got a problem where your metabolism is not good. Believe me, you won't feel good. And now your brain chemistry is out of balance. No way you're going to feel good. And this is what we see in women. They're pushing so hard to make everything right in their life, and they're trying to push against all these physiologic, mental, and emotional factors that are driving them down. And this is modern life. This is the modern woman. And this, I've talked to thousands of women that are in this state, and I know that if she'll just, for one moment, back away from her life and all the things that are going on, and being on this hamster wheel and trying to do everything, and just go, I need to take time for myself, or I need to really start looking at ways in which I can help myself. If she'll do that, then I can show her how to do this in a step-by-step fashion, exactly what they need to do, and if they'll just follow it, they will bring back the motivation, bring back the energy, bring back the calm state of mind that they need, bring back those feelings of hope, and now I know that I've got some vision and purpose in life and all. If you don't bring that back, if you don't get that energy back up, if you don't heal those things, then you're going to be taking drugs that are going to smooth out a symptom, and underlying this disease process is going to just keep on going. And then you're going to end up needing more drugs for more things because that drug didn't take care of that problem, and now you're taking drugs because the drugs are causing you problems. It's a real problem. You know, it's not a good situation.
Such a bad cycle. It just starts one cycle and turns into another.
Not good. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.